So, for obvious reasons, we can't be together. And we need to do our part to keep each other safe and others safe. So, we are going to be putting things out more online. We are going to be doing things a little bit more different. And we need to try to find other ways to not only come together, but remember the loved ones that we lost, and to also keep Grenfell alive. Because the issues are still happening, the issues are still there, and I urge people to engage with the public inquiry. So please help me in keeping our families forever in our hearts, and please help us in keeping Grenfell alive by staying connected with the things that we put out.
We remember Abdeslam Sebar, Ali Yawar Jafari, Dennis Murphy, Mohammed Al-Haj Ali, Jeremiah Dean, Zainab Dean, Stephen Power, Sheila Smith, Joe Joseph Daniels, Husna Begum, Kamru Mira, Mohammed Hamid, Mohammed Hanif, Rabia Begum, forever in our hearts.
We remember Khadija Kalufi, Vincent Chajina, Fatima Habi, Sakina Afrasihabi, Isaac Paulus, Hamid Khani, Berkti Haftum, Baruch Haftum, Gary Maunders, Debbie Lampro, forever in our hearts.
Forever in our hearts. Erin Vittel, Margarine Vittel, Maria Galpilla Burton, Armel Ahmed Ahmedine, Amaya Tukin Amidan, Amin Mahad Idris, Mahmoud Taku, Victoria King, Alexander Attel, Mary Mendy, Khadija Sayer, forever in our hearts.
We remember Farah Hamdan Bilqadi, Lina Bilqadi, Malak Bilqadi, Omar Bilqadi, Jessica Urbano, Ligaya Moore, Abdul Aziz Al-Wahabi, Fawzia Al-Wahabi, Mahdi Al-Wahabi, Nurhudda Al-Wahabi, Yasin Al-Wahabi, forever in our hearts.
We remember Logan Gomez, Fidoz Hashim, Hashim Kadir, Nora Jamal, Yahya Hashim, Yaqub Hashim, Fatima Shakur, Marina Shakur, Nadia Shakur, Syria Shakur, Zainab Shakur, Basim Shakur, forever in our hearts.
We remember Tony Dyson, Miriam Al-Gawahari, Isla Al-Gawahari, Raymond Bernard, Gloria Trevisan, Marco Gattadi, Fathiya Hassan, Haniya Hassan, Rania Ibrahim, Hisham Rahman, Mohammed Ahmed Nada, Abu Faras Ibrahim, Isra Ibrahim, Fathiya Ali Ahmed Al-Sunnusi, forever in our hearts.
They are negligent, we are not. That's the message we've been trying to send ever since the fire at Grenfell Tower. We have held that if we were in such a position, that we would be accountable to the residents, that we would listen to people before events turned catastrophic, and that the proper health and safety regulations would have been followed, that fire barriers and cavities would have been put in place, and that flammable cladding wouldn't have been attached, especially 30,000 litres of petrol. In order for us to hold that, we have to have systems of accountability that are better than the state. And the thing is that the state are better resourced than us. They're fighting a war of attrition. They know that we don't have the reserves to be able to match them with frenetic activity, so we can only work in peaks and troughs. And the thing is that in our lulls, it's very hard to be accountable. And when we work in silos, it's very hard to be accountable. But we need to be accountable because the state is continuing to do the very things it did at Grenfell Tower. By mass do not resuscitate order, and blanket do not resuscitate orders being put against the elderly and people in care homes and the disabled, we are seeing the same disregard for human life, the callous indifference of human life, organised state abandonment. We're seeing the private sector replace statutory services with the expense of human life, just like we did at Grenfell Tower, just like we did at Aberfan. 107 years ago today, there was the Segennydd coal disaster in which 439 people died. In a week's time, on the 20th of October, we mark 54 years since Aberfan, when 118 school children and 29 teachers were killed almost instantaneously when coal slurry came in an avalanche into their school and suffocated them in thick black gloop. When you look at those images and you hear the recounts of what happened after Aberfan, and you hear how the community were robbed of their own money for post-disaster recovery, and you realise how much they had to fight to get the pits removed from above the town, you see a lot of the parallels with how we are currently being treated. And unfortunately, as you survey British history, you don't see many cases in which the state are held to account, or that people who have killed are criminalised or prosecuted for what they have done. So unfortunately, as we go forward, we have to face a very real possibility that we won't get the justice that we want, that we will not see anything resembling the justice that we feel, or the wrongdoing that we want expressed will be expressed by the state, by the inquiry, by the CPS, or by the police. So we have to do that. And the only way that we can do that is by developing the language of human rights violations, of breaches of the right to life, breaches of the right to housing. All of these things have to all come into play because it is our liberties, and the cost of our liberty is eternal vigilance. We really have to take this moment where mass death, preventable mass death, is all around us as a consequence of government complacency. We have to take this moment to take stock and change how we are approaching this, change our strategy so that we are a force to be reckoned with by this government, so that they cannot violate us any further.
Justice. 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 Justice.